What's going on, guys? I thought today we would do a ball joint video on the Duramax. I'm a little slow right now doing a lot of progress on it. I'll get a little more into that into my next video, but today I need to transport it to a different location and the lower ball joint is completely destroyed on it and I don't even want to try to drive it like that. So I'm changing out the driver's side lower ball joint. You can see that I'm out of breath right now. Just whacking the lower knuckle trying to get the ball joint out. So let me explain to you how to do it and the tips and tricks that I've learned along the way. Alright, so the first thing you want to do obviously is remove the wheel. Get the thing up on a stable jack stand and a jack. And then the first thing I did after that was I removed the front CV axle if you have a four-wheel drive model. This is an 02 Duramax LB7. Remove the front axle, and then to do that you just take the dust cover off the front hub right here, and then you want to remove the bolts that hold the axle to the front differential, which I just used a long extension through, cracked them all loose, and then I used a 3/8 impact and zipped all the bolts out that way. They come right out really easy. And the axle nut is a 30, I think it's actually a 35 millimeter. I put a 36 millimeter socket on there because that's all I had, and it had a little bit of play in it, but it was fine. That took it right off. Not the right way to do it, but 35 millimeter I believe is the correct size. From there, you disconnect your brake line. Brake hose is a bolt right there, and there's another bolt on the top of the knuckle right here. You take those two out. Make sure you unclip your ABS sensor because I forgot to and nearly ripped it off. I think it was bad anyways, but from there you want to, disconnect your upper ball joint. So you would pull your nut off from inside the knuckle. Once your axle's out, it's easy to get to, and then you whack on the top of the knuckle with you got a 3-pound hammer, and the vibration will break that free. And then you're left with your bottom ball joint, which is right here. This is why I changed this thing. You see the play in it? That is very bad. You should have no play in any ball joint at all. Which, I mean, if you've come this far in the video, you probably know this anyways. But these things have some serious ball joints in them. I've never done a 3/4 ton ball joint like this before, and that's just huge. So, to get that out, let's get the ball joint. It sits in the bottom like this. There are no lock rings or anything that hold it in place. It just sits like that, and then the knuckle holds it in place from there. It's not going to pull out, so it's just pressed in, no clips. So what I did was I soaked the whole top of it with some PB Blaster first. Let it sit for a couple minutes. I used my MAP gas torch. It's a little cold out today, so I just warmed up around all the way around the edge. Try to expand the metal a little bit. I have the acetylene torch tank in there too I could have used, but the MAP gas worked just fine. And then after letting it sit a little bit and soaking it, I was able to use just a standard 3-pound hammer, and I was able to pound it right through. Put a little socket on the top afterwards and hammered that through. You also forgot to say, you guys take off you're taking the whole steering knuckle off, so you need to pull your tie rod off too. That's just one nut, and then hammer the side of the knuckle and it pops out. So now the old ball joint is out. I'm going to prep this area, clean it all up really good. I usually take a little bit of like 220 or 320 grit sandpaper, and I just like sand the inside edge, take off any rust or any burrs on the edges of anything, clean it up really good and wipe it down. And then we're going to put the new ball joint in. The new ball joint that we're using is it's an MAS, which I've never used any of these before. This is just like a cheap Rock Auto ball joint, which I'm usually entirely against using, but I figured I'd give it a try because I used Moog in the past on everything else, and I haven't had a very good result out of Moog stuff lately. It seems to wear out really fast, even greasing it. So I'm gonna try throwing a cheapie in here just to see what it does, and I keep an eye on all my stuff, and if I notice that it's getting plain, I'll change it out again and I'll put something else in. But for the price I paid for, which is like 25 or 30 bucks or something, I figured I couldn't go wrong. So we're gonna try it. This is just from Rock Auto. So I'm gonna grab my my ball joint press, and we're gonna try pressing this in after it's all cleaned up, and I'll update you further. And just like that, she's in. That was actually really easy. What I did, I'll do a quick rundown. I don't have two hands here right now, and my tripod is in the garage, so forgive me. What I did was I put an array of cups underneath right there, with a couple spacers underneath, and a big washer on top over that. This guy right here to be exact, and then basically sucked it up. It pulls right in place. I didn't use any oil or lube or anything. I did warm up the area real quick with a torch, nothing crazy, and it pressed right in. And you'll see that it sits flat against the lower control arm now. And now I can put my grease fitting in and I can start assembling things back together. And that's it, it's all back together. The next thing I gotta do is change the Pitman arm and the idler arm. Both need to be changed out. I did just grease the upper ball joints, those seem to be okay. The control arms were changed a year or two ago, so they're not terrible. Look at all that rust, huh? That's all oil from the fluid film I put on until I can needle scale it all and paint it. But it's back together for now. I do gotta transport the truck to a different location, and I'll explain that more in my next video, so stay tuned for next time.